Today is Monday, November the 6th. This is the regular session of school board, the School Board of Trustees of School City of East Chicago. The time is now 6 o'clock. No, the time is now 6:05. The place is the School City of East Chicago's Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street in East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. This is also being shown via live stream at www.scec.k12.in.us. This is the meeting of the school board in the public for the purpose of conducting the school, corporation, business, and not to be considered a public meeting. Diane Bigham, roll call, please.
Trustee Gomez.
Present.
Trustee Hernandez-Orange.
Present.
Trustee Smith.
Present.
Trustee Gibson King.
Present.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Can we stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The agenda, item number 3.01, approval for the agenda, item number 3.01. Are there any comments from the public? Okay. Is there a motion to approve this agenda?
Madam President, I move for approval.
Approved by Trustee Gomez and second by Diane Smith. Trustee Smith, any questions? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez-Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes. Item 4, the consent agenda, 4.01. Are there any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Wait, are we moving to approve just
Oh,
4.01
I'm sorry,
or all?
just only 4.01 is what we're asking to be approved.
Okay,
Yes.
and that is approval of the minutes from the June 26, 2023
Yes.
special session. It's probably best that we at
all
least read the title, just in case anybody doesn't have an agenda in hand.
Not
Yes.
doing them all together. The consent agenda is all together. So
Okay,
consent
so it's
agenda
all together
consists
then.
of
So we
4.0.
approve the consent agenda, we're not going to go by, okay, the whole consent agenda then, okay. Thank you, Trustee Trustee Hernandez-Orange.
Right.
Are there any questions from the Board of Trustees?
So just so we're clear, the consent agenda is items 4.01 through 4.04. It's
Yes.
approval of minutes from June 26th. It's a distribution of payroll. It is acknowledgement of donations that were received, and it's also a request for approval of a couple of fundraisers under 4.04.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Snow. Are there any questions from the Board of Trustees? All right, is there a motion to approve?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Approved by Trustee Smith.
Did we already ask the audience? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I asked
Okay.
earlier. I'll approve the consent agenda. Second, and I'm seconding. Okay, Diane Bigham, roll call. Okay,
Trustee
sorry,
Gomez?
sorry. Roll call, yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez-Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes. Now we're going to go into our new business. And it is 5.01, the personnel report. Do I hear anything from the audience? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the personnel report?
Madam President, make a motion to approve personnel report.
Motion made by trustee Smith. Is there a second? I'll second the minutes, personnel report. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Madam President.
Yes.
There's a particular item on the personnel report.
Okay.
I ain't got the number, but there's a letter,
Yes.
and I'd like to say that I'm not in agreement with that.
Okay.
And that's the particular letter for the stipend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in agreement with that.
Okay.
Madam President,
Yes, trustee Gomez.
I concur with trustee Smith that should not be part of the personnel report. So, yeah, the personnel report will contain pages 1 through 6 only.
So, okay, I understand what you're saying, so you're saying,
Right.
let's just approve this and then go to this later?
It's not even on the agenda.
Okay, okay,
Well, you'd be asking to actually remove that item.
yes.
There is a way to remove it. You just say you want to remove
I make a motion to remove it then.
Okay.
Madam-
Trustee Smith makes a motion to remove it. Is there a second? Second by trustee Gomez. Thank you.
Madam President, I don't even find this on the agenda, so, but either way, just to go on the record, I concur with trustee Smith on the denial of that request, so.
Thank you, trustee Gomez. The next item, roll call, I'm sorry, roll call. Madam Secretary, roll call. Oh,
We need to vote on removal of the item from the agenda. And then you're gonna have to go back and do a vote on the actual personnel report without I'm sorry. You're gonna have to approve the removal of this from the agenda, and then you're gonna have to go back and do a vote for approval of the personnel report minus the letter.
if passed.
Right.
Roll call.
No, so the first action
So
is, the first action is going to be we have
The
to
first
ask.
action is the motion that was made and seconded to remove this letter from the agenda. Yes, that's been made, so I think
Yes.
unless there's any more comment, we're ready for a vote on that.
are there any more comments or vote on this?
Well, first we have to ask the audience if,
Well, they don't have this, so it's just not on the agenda to ask them anything.
so then, I mean, but it's the removal of the stipend position
Yeah, but
that's on there.
is it on the personnel?
No, but it's on our website. That's what's on there. I mean, it's on there if you had prior now, I mean, you're right. But still, I would state what it is.
Well, it's a letter, let me see your letter, Mr. Mitchell.
Right, you have it on your,
Phone, but you
if
don't
you're
have-
on
you don't
the
have it in
computer,
hand.
but
What-
if it's not,
Right,
then you
it's-
don't have it. So that's why I said it's a stipend request for,
All right, just for.
I'll let Mr.
Yeah,
Mr.
just
Mr.
for
Mitchell
clarity.
address
What
it.
we have here is a stipend that, for work that was rendered by one of our employees. And this particular stipend is for duties that was above and beyond what the person was hired to do. And so what's on the floor right now is to remove this letter from the agenda, which means that this person would not receive a stipend for the duties that were rendered during the time period from August 1st to September 30th.
Do we have any comments from the audience? Go to the mic, please.
My name is Sherry Adams. I'm an East Chicago resident. And while I'm trying to figure out what you guys are talking about, it sounds to me like what was just said was someone's not going to get paid for services rendered. So I would only humbly suggest you all think about that very carefully. People are not ignorant. They do know how to contact lawyers. And you don't want to think about a possible future lawsuit from people trying to get their monies from services that they've already rendered out. It's kind of difficult to go back and say someone shouldn't have done something, shouldn't have been in a particular place, when it's obvious somebody told them they can be there. Somebody gave them direction and instruction to render the services that they rendered. If I come to your home and I tell you I'm a paid chef, and you say you want me to make you an omelet, and I make you that omelet, I'm looking to get paid for that omelet I just made you. Thank you.
Can I make a comment on that?
Roll
No,
call.
yeah,
we
questions
have
from
to-
the, for us.
From the board. Are there any questions from the Board of Trustees?
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
I state the same sentiment as Ms. Adams in the fact that someone told this individual to do an extra duty, as well as it's happened many times before. Like I did ask Dr. Mitchell ahead of time if he could put the specific hours that the individual work according to what the position that he was actually helping out with. I thought that would be a good conversation piece for the board so we can understand exactly what the individual did to receive the extra stipend. And I think there was a conversation previously where it gave how many hours worked. So this is my issue. Well, my overall issue is we continue to ask individuals to do other duties, and if that's the case, if they're going above and beyond and spending enough time, then everyone should get paid the same amount. So maybe there needs to be more of a policy that needs to be put in place while we're worried about many other policies. There probably needs to be something in place where if I'm asking someone to do extra duties over X amount of hours, then maybe they should be compensated for it, because we do have a lot of people doing extra duties, but we only compensate some, not all. You know, I've seen in this room, just seen Miss Tammy Pohl. She goes above and beyond to do extra duties. She sat in with me to plan when I worked for the Park and Recreation Department, an autism awareness walk. I'm sure that was outside of her extra duties, but she still did it. So we can't just pick and choose who we want to give monies to. That's my only issue with this. But if they were rendered and they said that someone was supposed to get paid, then, you know, it's disappointing that we don't pay.
Are there any more comments?
Madam
from the board?
President,
Yes.
my
Trustee
opinion
Smith?
on that is, yeah, you should get paid, but if you are salaried and you're in an administrative position, you will sometimes go above and beyond. I can call out several people in this audience who has gone above and beyond and has not even gotten a thank you, as well as a stipend. And I can tell you this, Tammy Pohl, Linda Randolph, I'm just calling off names, Dr. Mitchell, Ms. Yanders, all of them go above and beyond. If anybody should get stipends, then if one person if we start giving stipends out because somebody went above and beyond, then that means we should do it for everybody. That's my opinion. It wasn't, if you did it from your heart, that's one thing. But if you're doing it because you think you're gonna get a stipend, I don't go for that, because we're about the children. I'm not about money. If you're paid a salary, and I worked salary, and I went to work at 6 in the morning and sometimes didn't get home to 7 and 8 at night. I was administrator at a nursing home. Nobody gave me an extra stipend because I was salaried. I'm just using myself as an example. And a lot of people in this district have gone above and beyond. If that's the case, then a lot of people, teachers, principals, and administrations should be stipend, so no.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes, Hernandez Orange.
I
trustee Hernandez.
100% agree with that statement, Ms. Smith. That's why I say I really think that it should be put in policy, because there's so many times where you hear that the superintendent said, I'm going to get an extra stipend, or a school board member told me if I do this, I'm going to get an extra stipend. So if you put it in a policy form, then there's no question as to who's going to get it or not get it. It's written in black and white. And that's my concern with the district in its entirety. It's just depending who I know or depending what I do is if I'm going to get the money for it or not. So that was my reasoning for my comment.
Thank you, trustee Hernandez Orange. Are there any more comments from the board, please?
Madam President,
Yes, trustee Gomez.
I believe this is at least the third time we're discussing this. I hope this is the last time. I'm ready for a vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion?
The motion has been seconded.
So there was a motion made and seconded to remove this item from the agenda, at which point then you would have to then proceed with the remainder of the personnel report if this motion
So now we're
is
at roll
approved.
call for this. to
Yes, so
remove
now we're ready for a vote.
Okay.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez Orange,
it. No.
trustee Smith,
No.
Madam President Gibson King,
Yes.
What?
So then that fails. So then,
Can I change my vote? I'd like to change that vote. What did I say, yes? Yes, you did. Yes. It was I'm sorry, it was so much going on. No, I'm not, no.
So no, you're not in favor of that initiative going forward, is what you're saying your intent was?
Table.
You want it to be tabled? You want it to be tabled or you want it to be removed?
removed, it's removed.
Okay,
Period. I don't want to go through this again with
Okay.
this.
so that motion, yes.
Now carries, so now we're back at the,
And now we're back at the remainder of the personnel, the rest of
With that
5.01.
Okay. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez Orange,
so we have to have a motion, don't we? With the removal, yes.
Okay. Okay.
You need
well,
to ask for a motion.
Make a motion.
That's fine, so we need, we need a motion
Okay,
to
we need-
approve the personnel report with the removal of the letter.
Okay, so I'm
For the
asking for a
last
motion
vote.
for the personnel report now?
Right.
Okay, all right.
With the
Asking
removal of
for-
the letter.
With the, okay, asking for a motion with the personnel report with the removal of the letter. Okay. For the personnel report then, okay.
As amended.
As amended? Yes, okay. Now, are there any questions from the audience?
Okay.
She's right.
Now, we don't have, are there any questions for the Board of Trustees?
No, we had to make a motion
Okay,
first.
We need
So-
a motion in a second, yes.
Okay, we make a second, okay.
You gonna make the motion, Vanessa?
I'm not. I voted no.
No, you voted to remove the item.
I remove, okay.
So now you can vote to approve the rest of the personnel report.
I make a motion to approve the personnel report.
Motion
As
made by
amended.
trustee
As
Smith.
amended.
Yes, there you go.
Motion made by trustee Smith, second by trustee Gomez. Diane Bigham, roll call, please.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez Orange,
No.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
Madam President Gibson King.
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry. I do apologize. That's the, we removed that, so now it's just the actual personnel report.
Right.
Yes,
I am a yes vote for just the personnel report.
okay.
I do apologize.
With the,
So it's unanimous.
So that's a, that's a 4-0 vote.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next on the agenda is 502, approval of claim docket. Are there any public comments? Okay, is there a motion to approve the claim docket?
Madam President, I move for approval.
Trustee Gomez, motion to approve,
Second.
and second by Trustee Smith. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Yes, Trustee Gomez.
I have a few items. I'm not clear on page 2. Top item there, 113871.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, there's limited information here.
okay, you have to explain that?
Yeah. This was a professional development conference for teachers. I believe we had one individual attend for 2 days. And this is the hotel fee as well as the conference fee.
I'm sorry, Dr. Mitchell, you said this was for what?
This was a professional development at French Lick, that's in Indiana, right down by that whole Columbus area.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions from the board?
Yes, I have a few. This is under the title for school lunch. Do we know what this was for?
This was the, for SNAP. And so they were down there. This conference had, was for those folk that are engaged in the programming for the school lunches, the school lunch program. So this was part of the SNAP piece, and they had a conference to really give them more information about how we would disseminate and how we actually, how that program is actually activated in our community, in our schools.
Page 10. One, 113,967.
Stericycle is anytime that you have needles and different things like that that needs to be disposed, this company picks them up to dispose of them properly. We do have those in boxes in front of our schools, in front of the nurse's office, things like that. So these are devices and tools and resources that need to be disposed of properly, that can't be thrown away in the garbage. It must be disposed of by a licensed facility that's, does that in a way that's in compliance with the federal government and standards.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the organization. I just found it odd to be under the education fund. Page 17. Last item there, 113,932.
Lamar Companies, that's a poster company. They do the billboards. And I believe that this billboard is the one that is on Railroad and Columbus Avenue. That's the one that's right there by Central going down Columbus Drive. So anytime that we change that signage, we have to pay for that poster to go up, and that charge is what you see in front of you.
I believe we actually paid them a monthly fee. So this is standard fee. That leads to my questions I was going to ask later. That billboard has been up there since May? Since graduation. It's been up there for 6 months now. I've asked 3 months ago for it to be changed, but
Yeah, it's going to get changed.
Yes, the media was changed. I believe that one of the board members did work on what would be the next media piece that goes up there. It does take time to remember that that road was closed for a period of time where no one had access to that corner. Now that we have access again to the corner, there was a team of people that did work together to put up new media there, and it takes a while to produce that. I believe that new media will have something to do with our music program, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, it will have something to do with our music program and the dates of upcoming events.
Yeah, President. Madam President.
Yes, trustee Smith.
Thank you. I just wanted to explain to trustee Gomez, yes, it has been up there since graduation. It's up to us to contact the company, Lamar, and let them know that it's time to change. But I think there's a contract, because I have had billboards, and I think they run from 2 to 3 months. So Trustee Gibson and myself, we are working on to make sure that that particular billboard is changed every 2 months, if possible, showcasing our children and all their accomplishments. So hopefully, the end of this month, we should be hosting, it should be displaying our music, our children in the music. And then we'll start showcasing our children in some of the sports, because some of our kids are really, really reaching a different level in sports in the state of Indiana. So we do have a plan, but I do know that with that particular company, that billboard stays up for 2, maybe 3 months. But this time it has gone a little bit too long, so
Yes.
it will be changed.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Thank you,
Page
trustee
18.
Smith. Are there any more questions?
Yes, I was following my line of questioning for page 18, 113935.
Yes, this is for extension cords. We went through inspection by the fire inspector, and the cords that we were utilizing in a couple of spaces, they didn't have the, they didn't meet the requirements for what was plugged into the outlets. And so one of the maintenance people were given permission to go and buy the extension cord so that we can continue to utilize that equipment that needed an extension cord to be utilized.
I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't understand why we don't use vendors who have property within the city limits of East Chicago. Next one is 113937, same page.
Yes, this was a bulk purchase for paper towels. Those paper towels are utilized within our transportation department, and those are the paper towels that are used for commercial and industry use. And they were purchased from Maccabee Auto Supply, which we have an account with. So,
The last one is on page 31. One 113-972.
113972, Indianapolis Mayor, Indiana School Council Association. Yes, this was another professional development conference, and this is for the lodging for the School Counselor Association. That was the hotel fee.
I'm
How many people?
Go ahead.
Trustee Gibson King, so we actually received that today, from Ms. Bigum. So she gives us the PD before our meetings, every meeting, and it actually has the information in regards to the French Lick Conference. And this one, if we look, the travel would be for those individuals. It's probably on our last one, because it's not on this one. But we do have, they are giving us this information ahead of time.
Thank you, trustee Hernandez Orange.
Madam President, the reason for my question is that this is going through a travel agency, and it seems that most conferences that we attend, I've not seen Travel Hut in a long, long time. And I believe we usually just go directly through the agency that's hosting the event.
Yeah, well, the reason that we used the travel agency in this instance was because of issues with the credit card, and it was, so we needed to have a PO, and we need to have that paid, so we went through a travel agency to ensure that the hotel fees and travel and lodging was all done in a timely manner so that the individuals can make it to that conference. Again, sometimes you have to be a little creative to get done what needs to be done if you don't have the credit card at your disposal to utilize to make that payment yourself. So in that case, we used a travel agency to make sure that happened in a timely manner.
Why wasn't the credit card available?
I don't know why the credit card wasn't available, sir. To my knowledge, the credit card wasn't turned in by someone that sat on this board. But I don't know, so again, when we come to situations like that, we try to solve the issue so we can move forward. But I believe that's all been resolved now, and that credit card is back in the hands of the CFO. And anytime that is need to be used, there's a procedure in which that credit card is then utilized to make the purchases that are necessary to continue the operations of this school district.
There's also a policy that, in that policy, it also addresses the return of that credit card.
Within 48 hours or 24 hours, there is a policy. And if the person can't follow the policy, then they should be reprimanded for that, because that's a delay and that's an embarrassment to our district. Because if the school district needs to purchase some items, or a person needs to go to a conference, the person that holds that credit card is responsible. So maybe then if you start making them pay for the trip because they don't have the credit card, then maybe it'll change, but there is a policy for that.
Are there any more questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez on.
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
Gibson King.
Yes. Oh, 5.03, approval of usage of Central High School auditorium inauguration.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, we do have a letter here asking for the use of Central Auditorium for the inauguration of elected officials, the swearing-in ceremony of elected officials on January 6, 2024, from 11 to 3 p.m. We do have a longstanding MOU with the city of East Chicago to utilize our amenities, and this is just a verification that they need to use it on January 6th.
Are there any questions from the audience?
They will compensate, yes, they do have insurance, and they do pay for the utilization of that. The MOU just means that we don't have to come before. They don't have to do all that paperwork over and over again. We have it in our possession. So it's just a matter of them letting us know what days they will be utilizing.
Dr. Mitchell?
And this, I understand.
I just wanted to add on to that. So it is a shared use facility, MOU, in the fact that when the school district would like to use the city's facilities, they're allowed to. We do not, ask them to, pay for the facility, as well as the school city does not ask us to pay for certain portions, for instance, the parking lots or whatever, but we do pay the extras, as in your janitors, the police, whatever extras are for that day is what is paid for. So not per se the space, yet the extra amenities that come with it is what's paid for.
Are there any questions from the board trustees, please? On item number 5.03.
You have to have a motion for it.
Make a motion.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion for item number 5.03?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Approved by trustee Smith. I'll second it. Are there any questions from the audience? I mean, any questions from the board?
As long as we get our check.
I just got a question from this letter that we have. Is this the same, is this the Harris Law Firm too?
Yes, Harris Law Firm is our law firm that we use for the school district.
No, no, talking about for this letter here. Is this the city's law firm too? Is
We
this
do
what this
have
is?
Dr.
Attorney
Mitchell,
Snow here.
I could respond to that.
Oh,
So
okay.
Dr. Harris Law Firm was the attorneys, are the attorneys that are for the legal for the Parks and Recreation Department. So it is the same law firm, and they are the legal representation for the Parks and Recreation Department for the city.
Any more questions from the board? Madam Diane Bingham, roll call, please.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez on,
Abstain for reasons of being one of the members part of this.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
Madam President, Gibson King.
Yes. The next item on the agenda is 5.04, and that is the approval of the AFT collective bargaining agreement. Mr. Mitchell, please.
Yes, we do have Attorney Cantrell here. Over the past few weeks, we've been working with the American Federation of Teachers, working on their collective bargaining agreement. We've come to a consensus on what that agreement would stand for the 2024-2025 academic year, 2023-2024 academic year. And Mr. Cantrell, can you give us an overview? And by the way, this is the first reading. It has to go through 2 public readings.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So there are some changes that had to be made to this document, generally speaking. There were some issues that the contract had that, that there was some exceptions taken to. So one of the first things that we did was try to make parts of the contract uniform. There was, the old contract had some bullet points on it, had some various discrepancies, and even trying to cite the contract. Like if you look at, if you look at a specific page, there was duplicate page numbers in the old contract. There's also, if you look at Roman numerals, and then you looked at letters and numbers, there just wasn't necessarily a uniform placement of everything in the contract. So we redid the contract, but there was a lot of issues that we had to take up, and there's a lot of things that we had to change because there were issues that the state had with this contract. And so we worked with the teachers union, and we worked with the administration to try to come up with numbers that everybody felt comfortable with. And so the contract had to be updated for insurance purposes. We had, instead of giving a range where people would decide what their salary would be based on the number of years they worked for the school district, we had to change all that because that's not something that you're allowed to put in contracts anymore. So we really had to change a lot of the way we did things, and the contract is now completed. Everybody feels comfortable with that. And I'm hoping that the school board will approve this contract because the numbers were crunched. Dr. Mitchell and Ms. Simmons were able to crunch these numbers and try to put the teachers in a position where we can give them salaries that they feel comfortable with, that are competitive with other school districts. And we really want to compensate teachers because we want to keep good teachers here. We want to encourage teachers to come to this school district. And that's how you keep teachers to stay here, especially because it's a great environment to work in, a great environment to teach in. We just want to have all the teachers feel comfortable with their salaries and their raises. So we spent a lot of time and effort to putting this contract together, fixing some mistakes of the past, making some changes that the state wanted us to make, and we tried to put it all in a concise document that was easy to read and also easy to cite. Because if you're talking about like Article 4 of the contract, you want to be able to go in and justify the salaries that are increased, and these teachers deserve it. I think this is a fair resolution, and I'd ask the board to consider approving this document because a lot of time and effort was spent, a lot of numbers were crunched, and I think this is something that everybody feels comfortable with, and we hope you do too. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or comments?
I do have, but I don't know if we need the motion first.
Are there any questions from the audience?
Helen Steinbach, 5207 East 73rd Avenue, Maryville, Indiana. I am the teachers union president, and we spent quite a bit of time negotiating a fair deal for our teachers. Although we would have liked to have more money, we know that the district only has so many dollars to give. And with Mr. Cantrell and our representative from AFT Indiana and our members of administration, we were able to negotiate a fair deal. And I appreciate all that were concerned. And Mr. Cantrell has been working diligently to make sure that all the things that need to be updated are updated, and I appreciate that as well. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Yes.
My name is Madeline Spann, and I'm not talking about anyone. I'm on the outside looking in purely as a layperson. And a lot of times I've heard different contracts with the teachers and other people, but constantly a raise, but we stay at schools. And I was wondering how, and then we have all this development that we go to, but when is it going to trickle down to our students?
Are there any more questions from the audience? Are there any questions from the board? Oh, I need to make a motion.
I'll
Sorry.
make a motion for approval for,
Trustee Hernandez on makes approval, make a motion
Second.
to approve. Trustee Smith, second.
No, Gomez.
I'm
Gomez?
sorry, Trustee Gomez, seconded. Are there any questions from the board?
Trustee Gibson Key, I have a couple questions. So what was the overall, what was received this year? Like, was there increase, what was the increase, and if there was a stipend?
Well, we had to adjust contracts based on the base salary range, and, we can no longer use years of service to change the contract.
Okay,
And so teachers were going to get a bump up in pay based on their evaluation rating and based on years of experience. And then there's an issue with the language of academic needs, and so we have to, we had to change some of the language in the contract that we've used for a very, very long period of time.
Excuse me, Attorney Cantrell.
Yes.
Can you identify the area you're speaking of right now?
Yes, it's in Article 4 under compensation. It's page 5 of the contract.
Yes.
Sorry. So the teachers get a $700 one-time stipend. And depending on how much the teachers were making, they can get an additional $1,000 bump or $1,500 bump based on individual teachers.
okay. So there's no percentage this year increase?
Correct.
Okay. My second question is, I've discussed this a couple of times beforehand, and solely because I worked in the athletic office and I know what it is, and I'm going to say it again, because if I have to protect our monies, I'm going to say we have a bunch of stipends that are on here for assistant coaches and freshman coaches and all that, but we actually do not play a full schedule. Or what we do is we use individual, or kids who are on the JV team, and then we make them freshmen, and then that person receives a full stipend of $3,000 or whatever the case may be. And I say this because we need to have some type of language of, if you do not reach X amount, then you will not receive X stipend. Because then maybe we could get them to actually go out and recruit kids to actually do this. When we have the ECA program, some of them, like, you could go out and recruit those individuals to come be on there. That's just me personally. We need to, that needs to be looked at. I've been saying it for probably every year now, because I see how we take advantage of that, unfortunately. We need to put effort into recruiting kids to be involved in sports. And if we're going to pay people that amount, then we better recruit them. Also, some of the positions on, for the ECA, I think there's a misspelling one in technology, but I may be wrong. Also, the athletic trainer, I'm confused as to that position. So what we previously did was, there was actual payment for the athletic trainer. They actually had a salary. It was more than this, so I don't know where that's coming from. The second thing is the athletic scheduler / supervisor for the high school. I definitely don't know what that is. If someone could further explain, I would appreciate that.
That's on page 35 for the record.
Page 35. Yes, the athletic trainer, if you recall, we, after the foundations removed their funding from the fitness center, we wanted to make sure that we put the fitness center back in place where it could be utilized by the community and also benefit our students during the time. So we know that we could have called that person, we could have made the title whatever, but athletic trainer seemed to be the best title to fit somebody that's going to work with someone to help them develop a personal training plan that will help them increase their strength, endurance, or whatever they're coming to the fitness center for. In terms of the scheduler supervisor, we do have that position at the middle school level, and we wanted to make sure that that same position was identified at the high school level and compensate the people for that. By making it ECA, we know that by doing it this way, we looked at the personnel that we have within a district, and we wanted to ensure that the people that we had in the district had a fair opportunity to actually take on those roles if they had the qualifications and the time to do so. And this was one way that we could have a greater likelihood of that person being an employee in a district, and give them opportunity to not only work with our students to expand their horizons, but also give those people an opportunity to earn additional pay for the time that they put in with the students and helping them achieve their goals and aspirations in athletics.
Dr. Mitchell, so I'm an absolute no to these positions. I'm going to tell you why. One, the athletic, first off, you actually have physical positions that are in place for the athletic scheduler and supervisor for the high school. That's called the athletic director, along with the secretary, along with whoever you will put in that position, because that's what we all used to do. Again, was there for 10 years. There's no need for athletic scheduler or supervisor. You pay, that is literally, if you look at a job description of an athletic director, their job is to do schedules and to supervise. That's it. That's their job. I'm not understanding why you need this. I was here in the athletic department where you had one athletic director, two secretaries, one athletic director, one secretary, and we did this entire 18 sports. We had more students involved, and we did it without having an extra stipend. Let me correct that. We did get like $100 stipend per game or $75 if you supervise a game, but we've already approved that, so they're already actually receiving that. The second thing is that if you're saying this is for an athletic trainer for the actual fitness center, that person's only gonna make $4,478. To be a trainer for the entire year for that, I mean, that doesn't even pay a trainer if you're making compensation. I mean, you're making pennies. So I personally, I want to be able to approve this document, but I cannot approve it with that being there. This has to be done something separately. Please remove it from this, because this is not something that should be in here for other people to receive stipends to help run an athletic program. And that's from personal experience.
All right.
No one here would know that other than myself.
I got a question. Pardon. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, go to the mic, please.
Sherry Adams, East Chicago resident. I thought I just heard Dr. Mitchell discuss hiring these, whatever individuals would be for these titles of athletic trainer. I didn't hear him say, and it could be my ears, anything about a stipend. Because in that case, then you right back to where you started before with various people coming up saying, hey, I did this job, and so where's my money? So what I heard was Dr. Mitchell talking about additional hiring of certain individuals that'll be qualified to come in and train these young men and women. I'm perplexed and confused on a regular basis when you all discuss this. I don't know if it's some 50, 60-year-old rule that was put in place that you guys can't seem to correct, get rid of. I don't know if this is some type of power play that's going on, but I know what I have heard is individuals from the board themselves to audience members say that their children who are trying to be in sports and have participated in sports have had occasions where they didn't have a coach. So why are we still going back and forth about getting proper athletic trainers and/or coaches for these children? I'm just completely baffled by that part. I just don't get it. And just a really quick reminder, you all please remember that politics should play no part in this, nor should any kind of power play or egos play any part in this. If somebody on this board, which it is, has experience, past or present, having anything to do with the athletic program, then of course, by all means, express that. That adds to something, not just for the board to think about, but the audience members as well. But I'm going back to the core of this thing, and that is, why is there so much confusion about hiring qualified athletic coaches and trainers for these kids? Back in May, been coming here for 7 months to these meetings. I asked some of you board members, please come up to the fitness center. I'm a member there. You'll see what goes on. And maybe if you have a visual of what's happening, things will be a little bit more clearer to you. Right now, the fitness center has one person running it. Back in September of 2023, this year, from September 20th to I think around October 4th, fitness center was closed up. Why? Because only one person's running it. Then it was closed again 2 days in October. Why? One person's running it. Because 2 qualified people who've been there for years, Isaiah Smith and Jerome Buchanan, were let go. So that left Richard Peterson there by himself. He had to come up out that office where he was rarely seen before, and now he has no choice but to be seen because he's the only one up there. So when he's got a doctor's appointment, fitness center closes up. When he's got vacation, fitness center closes up. If he breaks a nail and has to go to get stitches at the emergency room, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The fitness center closes up. And then where are those kids going to work out? Where are they going, not just for daily exercise, but those student athletes who are trying to work, on an athletic career? That's time lost for those kids. That means something to them. Those student athletes are serious about their athletic careers. And it stifles them. And it stunts them from doing what they're trying to do career-wise. I really don't think this is horrifically difficult. And I'm looking across the board at extremely intelligent individuals, have had conversations with all of you. So I just don't get that part. The only conclusion I can come to is people's egos, politics, and power plays, and it must stop. We keep talking about is for these kids, then let's stop being adults who are greedy and political and selfish and self-centered, and let's focus on these kids. Thank you.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes, hold 1 minute, Trustee Orange. Are there any more questions from the audience?
So just to add to what Ms. Adams said, you're right. I think we should have an athletic trainer full-time, making a for real stipend, not a $4,478. That's $4,000 for the entire year. I do believe that we should have where we actually have a position that's made. See if we have, which I thought that was going to be a discussion, where we see if someone could be added on through our funds for the weight room to pay. But to have just a stipend to whomever will qualify to do trainings after their regular job that works for us, because that's what these stipends are. I have a regular job in the school district or outside the school district, and then I'm gonna get compensation of this amount for the entire year. That makes no sense to me. If there's a way to find funds to have a job description for a trainer, that'd be great. Again, I still don't understand the athletic scheduler or supervisor at the high school. That's not needed, especially for $5,000. Not needed. The most that we would make for extra supervision, and I know it offhand because I used to always make it every year, was $3,000 at the most. Ms. Diane could allude to that because she actually had stipends afterwards.
So I have a question. There was a change made in this contract here. I just got it not too long ago. What was the change?
Well, we changed a bunch of things. The contract was previously structured where if a teacher had 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10, higher than 10, the contract was structured that way, but the state is not allowing us to structure the contracts that way anymore. So we had to figure out a different way to do that. So that's one of the most noteworthy changes, the structure and the compensation of the teacher's salary.
Okay, that was the Article 4 you speaking of, right?
Yes.
Okay, now what else? That's the only change? I know.
Well, we had to update all of the, there's a lot of things that
I know you
changed.
had to- No, what I'm saying is, I know you had to do, there was a change. I got this Friday, I went through it, but I just got another copy.
Okay.
So I don't know what was changed in this copy. Was there anything changed? Because I just got it, another copy.
I'm not sure what you received and then what you received, anything that was possibly changed. I'm not sure when you receive the different contracts. I'm not sure what's the difference in what you have and what you just
So
received.
the changes that were made with this is, the change that we spoke about was, I think it was $500, going from $50,000 to $49,500 on the teacher's salary, where that second range would start. And then there weren't any other changes with that.
That's only Article
That was
4.
that was the only change that was made from Friday. Now, at the time that we originally posted this, there was a section that was left off of it inadvertently, and that was added back on once all the language was corrected by Rick Matizak and Cantrell. So those changes were done, trying to get it in time to you all for the first reading, because again, we have to get this in by November 15th to the state for, as our finalized copy. So we did a lot in a short period of time, but that was the only change that was made from, I think, Friday or Thursday when it was originally posted.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam President?
Yes,
So-
Trustee Hernandez on.
So this is not due to the 15th, but then can those items be removed, and how do we get them removed? Is that something that you have to rediscuss with the teachers' union to have it removed?
Yes?
And Dr. Mitchell, is that something that you want to continue to keep on there?
That's what sitting at the table, I mean, there was, how many of you, I think was 6 or 7 of the representation from the teacher body.
The teachers weren't the one who requested that. Obviously, we had to. Or not we, the board, but someone from the administration side.
Oh, no, that went back and forth. Again, the whole goal here was to keep the fitness center going.
But that's, I mean,
And so the way that we looked at putting the fitness center going, the teachers also wanted to see that fitness center happen. And we
No.
had people that was there that agreed to, hey, maybe this is what we can do for right now. Now, that doesn't negate going ahead and hiring someone, but right now, we didn't want the fitness center, no one wanted the fitness center to be closed and to not be of service to our students.
But I feel like that's a slap in the face to the individuals who actually are there working. Like, we're not even working out whatever we have to in order to get someone there full-time, 1. 2, what does that have to do with the athletic director needing an extra person to help with? You don't need that. So how did that come to be?
Okay.
So my
Well,
question is this, okay. I went to the fitness center, and the center was open Saturday. Has not been open on a Saturday in a long, long time. Now, there are 2 guys that is working there. So my question is, I know they already do work for the schools already. So they already are getting their monies for working whatever the job that they already have, right? Now, is this some additional money for these 2 individuals? How this going?
No, those guys, well, Mr. Gordon has been asked
No, not
to
Mr.
figure out,
Gordon.
no, Grayling, the
I'm sorry.
athletic
Go
director,
ahead.
has been tasked with making sure that that fitness center is going to be open and made available to the public as well as the students. During the daytime, we do have Mr. Hess and different teachers that's there that have do instructional hours during the day. Mr. Peterson, in order so that he does his 40 hours will be from the hours of, I think it's 2 to, I think he starts at 2, and he goes on to whatever time, so he gets his 40 hours within a week. And then on a weekend, we do have some other individuals that works in the school district and other positions that have agreed to take on those hours on the weekend, so that we have a full opening hours of that fitness center that's made available not only to our students, but also to the community. Again, I've also reached out to different community stakeholders, Cleveland Cliffs, BP Amico, to see if they would underwrite the fitness center hours and some other operations. But we're still negotiating and working out that to see what can happen there. Again, there was tens of thousands of dollars that were removed from the operation of the fitness center when the foundation stepped away. So you have to try to figure out, how do you do that in an interim? And this is an interim fix. We just need to we want to make sure that we're not taking away a service that we know that is beneficial to the health and well-being of our students as well as our community, because we don't have the funding at this time. But we did have a body of people that's in the district, teachers, that said, we're willing to take that on, but we can't do it for nothing. And that's where that came from.
Dr. Mitchell? More questions now are coming up because you're saying they're open on a Saturday. So one thing is, if they're open on a Saturday and there's no one who has any certifications there, and maybe this is an attorney question, can we open up? And also, we have one of those gentlemen who actually used to work for the fitness center, working within our school district now. Did that person get asked to be able to open up to receive whatever stipend these people are getting on the back end? Because at least he would have some type of certification. So
Right.
that,
So-
Mr. Snow, if you could chime in with Dr. Mitchell, please.
All right,
Excuse
so,
me, the young man that was, I'm sorry.
hold
go
on.
ahead.
Just to answer your question, is that we haven't hired anybody for these positions because they haven't been approved by the board yet. Once the positions are approved by the board, then we will post, just like we post everything else, and those the individuals that you speak of will have an opportunity to apply for those positions. If they have the qualifications, then, of course, they will have an equal opportunity of getting those jobs. So we didn't create a job for any one individual. We created a job, we put these ECAs out there because there was a need, and we knew that we had the expertise within the district. We do have people in the district with masters in exercise science. I mean, we have the personnel within the district, and it's better to keep that talent in the district and those skills in the district than it is to go out right now, seeing that we're in a financial situation that we're in, until we can figure out how do we replace the shortfall that we were given without any notice. And I'll say without any notice because we had no idea that the foundation was going to pull its funding away from the school district. And this is the way that we have come up as a collective body to try to figure out how do we keep the fitness center open for the benefit of our students, our faculty, and our community.
So on Saturdays, who is opening it up? He is opening it up. Coach Peterson's still opening it up?
Yeah, we've, the athletic director has looked at the resources that he have, the human resource that he has, and he put them in strategic places so that it can be open. That's why during the school hours, it's really open, and the primary audience there is students, and that's where Coach Hess and those guys have moved their classes over to there so that the students can have the benefit of the fitness center during the school hours. And that allows Coach Peterson to flex his hours over a 6-day period.
Okay, and I guess I hope you understand my concern of, do we have someone who's qualified in order to be there, actually being there? And if we have individuals who have these qualifications and the stipend's gonna help them, that's fine, but I don't want it to be that that's the end-all be-all. I hope that we actually look further into finding some monies in order to get someone who's gonna be there to a full-time extent. Now, on the other portion of receiving a stipend for the athletic scheduler / supervision, that's a no for me. I don't even think it needs to be on there as a stipend, because you actually have positions in the athletic department that you could fill if you would like to fill, one. And two, we do not service the same amount of students as we used to previously. I would say, and the athletic director might be upset with me, but we gave grace for the year. We should now be on task as we're moving forward. This is not something that's needed, and I do ask for it to be removed from the actual document. And if it's the administration that the school city administration who said we should have this on there, I really would like to know why.
Madam President?
Yes, Trustee Gomez.
I'd like to focus on academics instead. My question is actually related to Article 4, A1. So the certified fully licensed teachers will begin at 47,500, beginning, sorry, that would be this academic year, correct? Okay. And then I've got to ask this question. Do you know what Crown Point's starting salary is? Can you share that with me?
They just raised it to 58,000.
Yeah. And, you know, the reason I bring that up is that, you know, they're
They also passed a referendum to fund that.
understood, agreed. And that's, I think, what successful school districts do, is pay their teachers and support their teachers. So in terms of I want to respect the union and the work that you and Attorney Cantrell have done so far. The only issue I would have is that I would like to see that salary bumped up, if possible, to a more competitive salary. Otherwise, we're going to continue losing teachers, and we're going to suffer for it. And if we're always talking about kids first, then let's help the kids. Let's get some good qualified teachers in here. But we're not going to do that, I think, at 47.5. I have other questions, but I'll defer because I know it's getting late.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
I agree with, with Trustee Gomez's academic first attitude of, and I think I expressed this when we discussed the budget. I asked if the state is saying that we have to be at 50,000 as a minimum for teachers by next year. I think that's the last thing. I think we should definitely, we could have done it now. I'm with Trustee Gomez, and I think I made that statement when we first discussed the budget.
President
Yes, Trustee Smith?
Gibson, to my understanding, this is the first reading.
Yes.
Okay. And do we have to vote on this today? Can we revisit
think
this
so.
in another week?
They have to reopen it if we don't revisit.
So do some of these questions about this fitness center and placing and all these things can be aired out as opposed to in our public meeting, which we're carrying it on and on and on. If we had an exec session or whatever, or workshop or something, I'm not in disagreement. I'm just saying, can this be discussed a little further at another date so that we can get the particulars and get the questions out, so that we won't have to just go back and forth, and we can actually sit down and talk about the raises, the athletic department, the fitness center, and all those things. Because right now, we're just going on and on and on, and we're not gonna, and the wheels will keep turning, and we're still not getting the solution. So if this is the first reading, if this is the first reading, legally, can we come back to this ASAP with the meeting and actually sit down and discuss this
Can it be changed, I think is what she's asking.
and change?
Well, I would
don't
defer
know.
to I would defer to your labor council on that, first of all.
We would listen to anybody's concerns on all sides of trying to get this contract together. That's something that we will definitely, we're going to consider anything that anybody wants to change, but it is difficult to change some items on this contract and change the document, but we want to hear everybody's concerns, and that's something that we want your input and we want your feedback. And of course, we'd like this salary to be as high as possible, but still affordable. And so when we're going through these numbers and crunching these numbers are from the city, and talking to the teachers union and all their representatives and Ms. Simmons and Dr. Mitchell, like these numbers are crunched based on what the district can afford and what is affordable. So these numbers were crunched, and of course, the teachers union is trying to get as high a raise as possible, but it also, and we're trying to keep as many teachers here as we possibly can, because just having teachers here and the students there's a lot of teachers that we like, and there's a lot of teachers that the students like, and we want to keep them here, but we still have to stay in budget. So this is a difficult process, but we definitely want to hear what everybody has to say and all their input, because we want to answer your questions and meet your needs. But these numbers are, we're right at the point where we could afford this. And so, just jumping up more money is really difficult to do, because I assure you that the teachers fought hard to get to these numbers, and getting different numbers is going to be difficult. And we took, everybody dropped everything to try to get in this position where we could get numbers that people feel comfortable with and still within budget. And so this is where we're at. I realize that there's going to be some changes made, and we want to hear your input, but these numbers were difficult to achieve. Thank you.
I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate the teachers compromising, because other districts are paying higher and we don't have the money in our budget. The only concern I'm having is right now is with the concerns of this fitness center. I'm not saying that I don't want to address it, but I need my teachers. I need the teachers. I need the fitness center, and I need the teachers to stay here. I'm not in disagreement with you that, because if I could win $1 million, or $2 or $3 million, I promised the Lord I would donate it to you. But I'm just saying, is there certain parts of this that we can kind of like, okay, the fitness center, let's just use that as an example. Is that something that we can just go back to, or what, or do we have to? I'm okay with the teachers, as long as the teacher's okay.
All right, so if I may, and then I know that we need to take a brief recess for anyone that needs to take care of some personal business. But the fitness center wasn't really priority in these negotiations, but we do know that health and wellness is a huge factor in academic success. That if we have a resource that's not utilized, and that's to the benefit of our students, then we find ourselves in a situation where our students are not performing in all the areas that they could perform in. And seeing that we are, due to our enrollment decline, so that's $2 million, then we have the removal of the dollars that we were counting on to operate the fitness center being removed by the foundations. So we have deficit after deficit after deficit. And so now you find yourself in a position of how do you maintain the operations of these things that are invaluable to your students. And the teachers were willing to take on some of that burden in the interim until we can figure out how to raise more revenue so that we can operate at full capacity within the district, which means hiring all these positions that we haven't had in so many years, and making sure the teachers are compensated at a competitive rate as they are in, I'm going to say, Northwest Indiana. So, in looking at it, we know that just state mandate means that we got to have teachers at 50,000, but we have so many teachers that's under 50,000 right now that if we try to move everyone to 50,000, what do you do with those teachers that's in the district that are not at that number? You have to move them also. So it's not just as easy as going in and changing the number, which is why we go through negotiation. They have the same numbers that we have. And actually, I think sometimes their numbers may be better than our numbers. But, there's a ebb and flow to that, where we're working on the same numbers. We have the same data in front of us. They know what hurt that we're experiencing. They see it in the classroom. We see it at the district level, and trying to come to a consensus. And that's what negotiation is all about, coming to a consensus where everyone feels that they've had a fair shake, and that that there's a stretch on each side. And I believe that this document represents that stretch that happened on each side that everyone has agreed that they can live with. Now, take it, this happens every year. So next year, there'll be another opportunity, but there's also another opportunity for us to do, as one of the young ladies in the audience said, to move the needle in terms of our performance in academics and athletics and whatever other place that we need to move our performance, but also to move our
to move our numbers. We also can use that same time to increase our enrollment. We can use that same time to get highly qualified teachers. Again, everything just can't happen by saying, let it be. I don't think but we do have to make sure that we put a strategy and a plan together and that we work that to the best of our ability so that everyone benefits. But for the most part, that our children get what they deserve.
Trustee Gomez, I think you're the next person in line to run the meeting. So can I speak real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
So I personally would like to, when he talks about the 3-year plan, we did this 3 years ago. And I thought by now we were supposed to be already at the $50,000 mark, from my understanding. So we might need to look at the financials, because 3 years ago, I'm pretty sure we discussed and we were supposed to be there. With that being said, how this has always been done is there's an executive session first to discuss what's actually going to be in the contract. In turn, that's when we have discussion of what actually changed, what didn't change, what we need to. So it wouldn't even get to this point. But because there's a concern with us as a board wanting to do extra and give extra if possible, which there is, as well as the concerns with the stipend, I ask that we have an executive session. We table this, we have an executive session, and then we have a special session prior to the 15th in order to see what we could do to change the contract.
Madam President,
Yes, trustee Gomez.
Attorney Cantrell, can you get a copy to the board with all the changes? I'm kind of a strikeout, highlight kind of guy that I can compare last year's contract to this year's a lot easier. Would you be able to do that?
For sure.
Yeah, and so the question comes up, still has not been answered. I think trustee Smith asked the question. This is going to require a vote tonight then, correct? Is that what you're asking for? It's on the agenda for approval.
I mean, we're trying to get through the process, and we're trying to get an approved contract through, before November 15th. So this is something that we need to go through the process, and we have to meet pretty specific timelines, but I also want to address all of your needs as well. So if you're, obviously, if you don't feel comfortable approving this, we still need to move forward to try to get this done to the best of our ability.
You think the question is this going to require 2 readings?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, this is the first one, right?
So there's time to still convene and address issues after the first reading has been.
Not a
hopefully-
sea of time, but time, yes.
Yes, understood.
It's semantics. We reached a tentative agreement. My membership has approved that tentative agreement. So we would have to do a reopen of the negotiations to change anything in what Mr. Cantrell has presented to you tonight.
And you'd have to go back to your membership as well.
Technically, yes.
Okay.
But it was unanimous, and if you're adding things, especially dollar amounts, I don't think they would have a problem with that.
I'm sure. I guess, trustee Gibson King,
Yes.
my concern is if Attorney Cantrell is stating that it's the dollar amounts that will cause the issue of more of a discussion with the union, that's why I want to know, is it better to just not approve at all? Or is it to table it, or, I'm sorry, have a special session on this?
I'm just gonna say what I want to say. I don't have a problem with any of it. I want the teachers to be happy. I want the fitness center to open up. But right now, we are stretched to the limit. Now, let's just call it for what it is. The superintendent just told you, we've lost $2 million. The teachers, I'm just gonna call it like it is, the teachers are already stretching and agreeing and willing to work for what they can get. And I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I want the fitness center to go, so Dr. Mitchell was trying to fit that budget in. When we lost that foundation money, that was a lot of money. So my hat's off to Dr. Mitchell and the CFO and the union trying to fit that make that that fitness center, work with the little dollars that we have. We're not saying, I'm not gonna say that it's not gonna ever raise again, because I don't know. Because I know Dr. Mitchell, he's gonna try to find a way to get me some money to get that fitness center and get the employees. I know Dr. Mitchell is going to try that, to get some money so that that fitness center can run. But right now, we're in a time constraint. November the 15th is here. I need my teachers, I need my fitness center, I need my athletic department. But right now, let's just be real. We don't have it. And going back and forth negotiating between now and the 15th is not gonna make it happen. I'm not saying nothing's impossible, but I'm saying, let's give it a try until we can get this fitness center thing out, till we can work something out with this fitness center.
Madam President, if I,
Yes, trustee Gomez.
thank you. I'm not really quite clear where we're at right now, but if we have not, then I'm going to make a motion, if there's not already a motion, to approve this on first reading.
Okay. Motion made by trustee Gomez for approval.
Already a first and second,
But it's up to the board.
Pardon, we never made a motion on it, though.
Yes, we did. I made the motion, and
I
trustee
thought
Gomez
we-
seconded the motion. We were in conversation. We already did the public comment. We're here. So we could move forward. As long as we're able to change, if we need to, the entire contract, I'm good with that.
Okay, so motions have already been made, right?
If I could just clarify a little bit, I think the way the statute reads is that when you have a tentative agreement, as Ms. Steinbeck mentioned, mentioned, you have to have a public meeting to discuss it at least 72 hours before it's ratified. So I don't think it's like it's a little different than like the council would do with the first reading, pass it along to second reading. It's more like we've acknowledged that we've held the discussion and the discussion's complete, and now we've satisfied that prerequisite, so when we come back, we can take a vote, because there's clearly been discussion. I think it's up to the board's prerogative to determine whether you would want to have another session to discuss changes before you come back with a final version. I think that's still up in the air, but I think today what your motion would actually be is to kind of acknowledge that the discussion required by statute has taken place, and you're approving this to move along to its final reading.
So we approving it for the first reading then, right? Okay, okay, all right. So, and the motion was already made while I was
Yes,
gone?
first and seconded.
Oh, it is, okay. Well, okay, well then, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez on?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Madam President Gibson King?
Yes, yes. Now we're going to 5.05, approval of LED lighting for Central High School. Are there any questions from the audience? Oh, yes, go to the.
Sherry Adams, East Chicago resident. I'm going to use the "I wish you all would" term and say that I wish you all would pass some LED lights, but you couldn't pass monies for the teachers in the fitness center today. Thank you.
Are there any more comments? Okay, okay. Is there a motion to approve the LED lighting for Central High School?
Dr. Mitchell,
Oh,
Madam
yes,
President.
trustee.
Can we allow the superintendent to present it a little bit?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
As
I'm
what's on the
moving fast.
agenda? Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell.
Approval of the LED lighting. The LED lighting, this is for Central High School. There's a number of benefits that will come from the approval of the LED lighting, especially since we have the support from our local energy provider, NIPSCO. The cost savings for our monthly bills would roughly be 74%.
The cost savings for the installation of this LED lighting would be $103,959.30. And that's based on the funding that's coming from the NiSource Foundation, as well as the rebates and things coming back from the government. This LED lighting will not only improve lighting and energy efficiency in our buildings, but also help us bring our buildings up to today's standards in terms of electrical codes and wiring.
Is there a motion for approval for the LED lighting from?
Madam President, if I could just add one thing.
Yes.
Just briefly on this, I would like for the board to understand that this is a proposal from a contractor. There is a contract that's kind of buried in the proposal that's pretty threadbare. I think it's something that we would want to be able to work with a little bit, but I don't necessarily see the merit in spending a whole bunch of time haggling over contract terms if we're not prepared to go ahead with the initiative as a whole. So I just want the board, I think, to understand that as you're discussing it today, what you're going to probably want to discuss is the quote itself in terms of the financial commitment, the cost savings, those kinds of things. And then if you choose to approve it, I would suggest that you approve it subject then to our ability to negotiate a contract that's satisfactory to the interests of the school and to the board. I think that's probably the most efficient way of doing it. So if that helps to guide your discussion, I just want to throw that in.
Okay, so let me make sure I'm hearing this right. So you're saying that we need to get a contract?
Yeah,
Okay.
This proposal is a proposal that was prepared that shows the energy reduction, not the contracts for installation, nor the contracts for the contractors that will do the installation.
Okay. And that would be the same thing for this other one here, is the same contract. I mean, we need a contract as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the LED lighting for Central High School?
Madam President,
Yes, Trustee Smith.
I understand the reason for the LED lighting proposal, and I understand that was it NICO or NIPSCO or whoever, we would save over $100,000 as far, in credits as far as the lighting's concerned with the utilities.
No, that's for the installation. That's for the equipment and installation. And then there's a 74% savings in the project lighting of the high school. And then there's another savings of roughly 62% for the outside lighting for the spills that we have.
I know, I'm looking at this, and savings is savings. But would there be a cost for us to do anything? Is there a cost for us to do any? Okay, now. So with that being said, this is, maybe you all don't know this, but in Chicago, since we had so many steel mills back in the day, East Chicago is basically commercial zoned as far as our NIPSCOs are concerned. I think Trustee Gibson, you remember when we talked about that and how back in the day, Youngstown and Inland and all of them, they basically picked up the tab. So when I'm looking at the list of school references here, they're in a different township. We pay more in East Chicago for utilities than the next person in Schererville. Somebody in a house my size is only paying $200, I'm paying $2,000. So I don't know if you know this, but this is something that that has been going on for years. And I think when we were, years ago, Trustee Gibson, myself, and we had a committee trying to fight NIPSCO about not zoning East Chicago as commercial. We're under a commercial, whether you know it or not. I mean, they're not gonna tell you that, but we're picking up the tab now where industries used to pick it up. So, you know, it could be a good savings, but then it can also hurt us, because these townships right here, they're paying a little or nothing. So I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. Me personally, I would just like to know a little bit more, because when NIPSCO came in and told me that, you know, in my building, you do this, you do that, you're gonna save, well, I don't see a savings.
Madam President, I'd like to move to table this item.
Yes, trustee Gomez. Okay, is there a motion to make, we need to make a motion to take, to second it?
Okay.
Second for the
He
table.
moved, yes, we need a second.
Yes, a second.
So we're tabling it.
If we get a second and a vote.
Second, yeah, you second it?
I can't second.
No, I'm saying Diane, did she second it?
Diane, are you second?
I will, second.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, motion second by trustee Smith. Are there any more questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez on?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Madam President, Gibson King?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is 5.06, approval of the closed bank account. Are there any questions from the audience?
Actually, I need to explain it first.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah. All
I'm
right,
sorry.
the bank account is from First Merchants Bank. That account was, has been, the contract for the medical vendor who we opened that contract for ended in 2015. Since that time, the account has been dormant. It collects about $500 in interest a year. And what the CFO is recommending is that we close that account and move it to our rainy day funds, so those dollars can be used for other operations within the school district.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Are there any comments from the audience? Is there a motion to, is there a motion, a motion made to be
I
approved?
make a motion to approve.
Second.
Approved by trustee Smith, second by trustee Hernandez Orange. Any questions?
Madam President,
Yes, trustee.
Dr. Mitchell, do you know how much is in this account?
No, I don't know the amount that's in that account. The CFO did say she would be available via telephone. I can call her and ask her how much is in that account. But no, I don't know right offhand what
Okay.
the,
No, that's
what the
fine.
amount is.
Thank you.
Are there any more comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez on?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Madam Chairman, Gibson King?
Yes. Item number 5.07, approval of articulations agreement. Mr. Mitchell.
Yes. Approval of the articulation agreement with the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters. This is a joint apprenticeship and training program that will be, that the I-Corps is willing to put into our school district. What this apprenticeship does is that it trains, it will allow us to train our students in 9th through 12th grade and prepare them for the apprenticeship program. If they go through this pre-apprenticeship program in high school, they will have automatic admittance to the Carpenters and Millwrights Union, given that they maintain a minimal GPA of 2.0, which they say they will flex that if some students are just having some issues, but have shown stick-to-itness to complete. And also, we also know that the region that we live in, Northwest Indiana, is a heavy skills and union area, so this would be most beneficial to our students. It also provides another pathway for our students to receive their diplomas, seeing that this pre-apprenticeship program is aligned with the Indiana pathways.
So I believe that this is a awesome program that will give our students another opportunity to enter the workforce going into the carpenters and millwrights trades.
Are there any public comments? Thank you.
No, no, they don't have to be an apprenticeship for all 4 years. They just have to have completed the basics for that apprenticeship program. If they are with us for the 4 years, then of course that moves them along the continuum. So when they leave us and go into the full apprenticeship program, there's a shorter journey to journeyman. So, but no, they only have to show basic proficiencies in, I says, attendance. They have to demonstrate the ability to read a tape measure. They have to demonstrate the ability to use a power tool, hand tools, and they also have to complete their OSHA 10 certification. That's all they need to do to move into the apprenticeship program with the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Carpenters and Millwrights Union. Yet,
She's-
I'm gonna speak real quickly just from here and say I think that's a great thing. I watch a lot of PBS on Channel 11, watch a lot of This Old House, and they talk about a lack of employees because not enough young people are learning about the skilled trades. So carpenters, plumbers, electricians, so that's great. That's great.
Is there a motion for approval of articulation agreement?
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes, trustee Hernandez
I
Orange.
would like to make a motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange and second by trustee Smith. Is there any questions from the board?
Yes. I'd just like to say, this is part of my dream that's coming to pass. It's just the beginning. So I'm very, very happy to see this. So now, thank you, Dr. Mitchell, and I know that you will take this to the next level in completing and welding and the rest of the other trades that our students need to know, and that the older generation, they're dying off, like she said, and carpenters. So thank you for listening to me.
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
I just want to say, I need to echo what Trustee Diane Smith said. Last year, I attended an event at their hub on US 30, correct, Dr. Mitchell?
no, this is on 61st.
Okay. Well, I know, I went to the one on US 30. Oh, wait, no, it is 61st. It's the one that you see. Yes. And I remember that we had not one student go from the school city of East Chicago to go and tour their facility. And I made that mention to the superintendent that was here at the time. And they specifically told me that they could not get in contact with anyone to have our students go there to view and see. And it is great to see in a year a turnaround where now we have a program where we're working with them. So thank you very much, Dr. Mitchell, for that connection.
Yeah, and I want to expound on this. Okay, trustee Gomez?
I just want to make a couple comments. One is that this is only for carpentry, correct?
That's what I was-
Carpentry and millwright.
I don't see that in here.
Training apprentices, training, that's all of it.
You don't see carpentry or you don't see millwright?
I see carpentry, I don't see millwright. That's why I asked the question. And I know trustee Rodriguez and I met with this group at the last ISBA conference down in Indianapolis. A good group down there at the conference. I guess the only troubling thing for me is, why is this not coming from our CTE department?
Again, there's some relationships that I've had. When I was president of Ivy Tech, I ran the largest apprenticeship program in the state with over 4,266 individuals. I have relationships, and I did reach out to the principal and the director of CTE, so they're both aware and abreast of what had taken place. And both the principal as well as the CTE director will be taking that visit along with a group of students within the coming days to look at that and then to put the program into their program of studies at the high school. So yes, this was a collective effort. However, when it comes down to articulation agreements and contracts, normally those contracts happens at the district level of place, and then it feeds down to the rest of the building, to the building level.
This is a free, this is at no cost, correct?
No cause.
There is no cost for this program.
I still think that the CT,
Well, actually, there is a cost for the program, but the cost is for us making sure that we have the tools and equipment to actually run the program, and that will come from Perkins dollars, which we'll just have to build in that program within the Perkins dollars to make sure that we have that allocation. Also, this gives a great opportunity for us to partner with local contractors in a community that will want to hire these students either as internships, externships, or even full employment once completed. So there's a number of financial benefits to this, but no, there's no cost for their curriculum to carry this out in our district.
And you also have the Carpenters Union on 30 in, what was that, Maryville. They're willing to come out. I've talked to a lot of them. There's no carpenters.
Yes.
Everybody needs a carpenter. Somebody needs somebody to do something with wood. The talent is gone, just like brick mason. So I'm happy to see it. That's okay, that's fine.
Go ahead, Ms. Adams.
Thank you, Trustee King. I'm a little perplexed that anyone would, and I'll start real quickly and say this. When a certain individual addresses his concerns, I'm curious as to why he always sees it as a problem. Why can't it be a question or a concern? Why is it always a problem? A problem indicates that there actually is a problem. And the problem may be more individual than cumulative. So keep that in mind, that the problem may lie with you, not with the discussion at hand. The second thing I will say is,
Oh.
Okay.
just help me out.
Oh, they
They're
can't
they're
hear.
handing me something that says you need to speak into the microphone because the meeting's being streamed and it can't be heard.
I don't understand. Sherry Adams, East Chicago resident. I'm curious as to why one of you, and you all say we can't say names, but I surely wish I could, sees everything as a problem instead of I have a concern or I have a question. I think sometimes the words we use, we need to be aware of because we start to believe that in our own minds when really there is no problem. And the problem may lie with you and not with the subject at hand. The second thing I'd like to say about that is, someone just help me out and explain to me what CT means, career technology. Why should what is being discussed now be left solely to career technology? Why can't the school board and the school city help out, step up, and say, hey, we're in this thing with you. We're just as interested in this for the kids as you are. So let us help you out. We've done some research, or we're in the process of doing. What we find out, we're going to include you in it, and hey, we got thoughts on this. Let's get together on this and work this out and get this done for these kids with the understanding that college is not going to be for everybody. And so this offers another avenue for these kids to go out and earn a very good living, a very good living. So I would just humbly suggest to the board members that please stop looking at everything as a problem or quote, I have a problem, unquote. Because personally, as I sit in that chair,
You have 10
I will
seconds.
begin to believe that, which I already do, that the problem lies with you. Thank you.
I'd like to say something about this apprenticeship program. This is something that is way overdue for the city of East Chicago. I know that there have been a lot of apprenticeship people that have came to the school board meetings trying to get something started for our children, even though we do have Ivy Tech there, but there's, I don't understand why that's not being utilized as like it should be. But I'm glad to hear that we are going to be having something coming, and I think that me and you did talk about this because, pardon?
I got the Ivy Tech MOU today.
Oh, yes, because what, I want our students to have the early knowledge of this, something that they can go ahead and apply for, not wait around on it, or whatever it is that they need to do to get it going. That's what I would like to see happen. So with that being said, are there any more comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to make a motion to it. Oh, okay, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Madam Chairman, Gibson King.
Yes. 5.08, approval of partnership commitment with the Northwest Indiana Workforce, JAG.
Yes, this is another program that will fit up under the College and Technical Education Program. It's a JAG program, Jobs for America's Graduates. This program provides skill set that prepares our students to become job-ready by the time that they graduate. This program is something that's a continuation that's what's happened in the district in the past, and we would like to continue the relationship as we go forward into to the future.
Are there any comments from the public? Is there a motion for approval of the instructional innovation coaches of, for the JAG program? Approval of partnership commitment with Northwest Indiana JAG program.
Madam President, make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Smith, second by trustee Hernandez Orange. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee
Madam
Gomez,
President, I
If there's
believe,
any
Oh,
questions.
I'm sorry, are there any questions? I'm sorry. Trustee Gomez.
no, I just wanted to, in case one of the other trustees had comments.
Okay, anybody have any comments? Okay. Madam Secretary, roll call.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes. 5.10.
Bill 9.
Oh, 5.09. Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
5.09.
Yes, I'm going up, yes. Approval of instructional and innovational coaches for Bishop Knoll. Is
Yes.
there any, oh, yeah. Mr.
Yes,
Smith.
the approval of instruction and innovation coaching for Bishop Knoll, this is a pass-through. Bishop Knoll is one of our, we serve as their LEA for Title I dollars, and they're wishing to utilize those Title I dollars to hire instructional coaches for innovation.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay. Is there a motion for approval?
Madam President, move for approval.
Okay, trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval,
Second.
second by trustee Smith. Madam Chairman, roll call.
You have to ask if there's any
Or is
questions.
there any questions from the board? I'm sorry. Madam Chairman, roll call.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman, Gibson King.
Yes. Next on the agenda is 5.10, approval of Lake County Sheriff and Sheriff Safe Schools Program.
Yes, this particular program is a program that's a joint with the
Lake County Sheriff's Department and many school districts all the school districts in Northwest Indiana. We actually tabled this before because we wanted to add additional buildings. Normally, this program only works with buildings that have students in it, but the Sheriff's Department was gracious enough to allow us to add our administration building, facilities building, and also transportation building to this particular thing. What this contract does is that during an emergency, it allows the Sheriff's Department to take over our cameras to live stream, so that if there's anything that they need to address in a crisis situation, they'll be able to do so without seeking warrants or whatever they need to get access to our cameras. Note that the caveat to this is that they will not utilize those cameras outside of a crisis situation. And that protects the privacy not only of our faculty, staff, and students, but also helps maintain the trust between our respective institutions. We believe that this is a needed service that will allow us to keep our faculty, staff, and students safe in a crisis situation.
Are there any public comments from the public?
Is that not using that camera written someplace in a contract or whatever, they'll never use it?
It is in the contract.
Is there a motion for approval of the Lake County Sheriff's SAFE Program?
Move for approval.
Motion made by trustee Gomez,
Second.
second by trustee Smith. Are there any questions from the board?
Just, Madam
Yes,
Gibson
yes,
King, I do have a concern. So it was tabled last meeting, one, because of the fact that it was supposed to read as the East Chicago Police Department MOU is with the school city, and it's actually not even close. We give the Lake County more access to the cameras as well as the facility compared to the East Chicago Police Department. And in reality, our East Chicago Police will get to our schools quicker than the Lake County. So I don't want Lake County's agreement to supersede or to trump what the East Chicago Police Department could do. This is why I asked for them to just mirror. That was what I asked previously. They do not mirror. I asked that we, again, table this to have the agreements mirror, because if not, then you have Lake County having more access. And I say that because in the memorandum for the school district, we still have to ask for the East Chicago Police Department. The East Chicago Police actually have to ask our security team to allow us to actually see the cameras, yet we're giving Lake County all access, all passwords, all whatever they need to see our cameras. I'm not understanding how we're just going to allow Lake County to do it, but not our East Chicago Police Department. With that being said, I do either we go back to the drawing board for the East Chicago Police Department, or we just have what I asked for last time, was it mirror the exact same thing that the East Chicago Police Department have. So I'm asking to table this item once again to have the contracts mirrored.
Are there any more discussions from the board?
I just want to know,
If there's a second, there's a motion on the floor.
The motion on the floor?
Yes, I just made a motion to table this agreement so that the agreements can match.
Okay. Motion on the floor from trustee Hernandez on to table this item for more discussion.
second.
Second by trustee Smith. Is there any more questions?
Madam President.
But, I'm sorry, but my question is, okay, now, we did have, we did discuss this. So when can the East Chicago Police Department come and talk to us? Do we have to contact them? Or
We
does
have to
the security- or does security have to contact?
Per the MOU, per the MOU of the East Chicago Police Department, if there's something that goes on and the East Chicago Police Department have to tap into those computers, the security has to give them access in order to go in there. That's for the East Chicago Police Department MOU. For the Lake County MOU that we're trying to approve right now, we're saying they could just tap in.
Well, to my understanding, I'm maybe, I don't want to drag this long, but to my understanding, I thought all, from maybe 3 years ago, all that was basically done with the East Chicago Police Department and the Lake County, to my understanding, that they had assets to cameras and everything in the East Chicago Police Department. It was X amount of dollars given, was taken out for that. I can remember that. I remember that because Mr. Balboa, Vince Balboa made sure, because that was I think it was $190,000 grant. And that equipment, I know things get outdated, but to my understanding, East Chicago Police Department is supposed to already have that.
So
Along with that. Now,
we have a
maybe I'm wrong and they have them? Okay.
we have a MOU that says it. It's just,
Okay, but you're saying you want, you're saying.
I'm saying that,
saying?
so basically, the MOUs that we have is, if there's an emergency at the school district, if it's the East Chicago Police Department, they have to get permission from the security director to say, hey, you guys could tap into our computers or whatever, the cameras. Lake County, though, what is before us is saying, no, we're just going to have you guys go look at our cameras, see what's going on. They have all passwords, they have all everything. The East Chicago Police Department have to actually ask to tap into it. That's why I said we should just mirror it and call it a day.
So when?
That's what I asked for last time.
So how soon can this happen?
For this to be done,
Yeah.
Because you said that they would have to.
as soon as the contract just has to be done. That's why I asked for it the last time.
So, just to address you, is that we did reach out to the chief of police, and we have a meeting scheduled with him to come before the superintendent's cabinet, and we will discuss those issues. This particular agreement this came from the county directly, so we didn't have any language in here except for what we wanted to add. So I did what was requested, and that was to, if we were going to do this, to add the administration building, facilities building, and transportation building. So we asked them would they add that and monitor those also. The answer was yes, they gave it back to us, and that's what's before us now. Now, I believe that maybe the next step would be to change the East Chicago MOU to reflect this MOU, and not change this MOU to reflect the East Chicago MOU, because we didn't have anything to do with this MOU. This is the county's request that went to all of the school districts.
Dr. Mitchell, but we have the power. If they have the power to change the buildings, then we have the power to change the MOU if we want. But I do agree, let's make sure we change the East Chicago.
Well, to fit this.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I agree to that, but it still bothers me that now they could tap into anything we have here. Just putting it out there. So, and, I mean, I'm just saying, we should have asked them to have it changed, since that was the actual request. One, to add the buildings, two, to make them mirror. You can go forward to vote.
So,
You can call for the vote.
Right now, we have a vote to table it.
So there's a motion to table that's been seconded, so the first thing you need to do, if there's no more discussion, is vote on whether or not you're going to table it.
so is there a motion that we have to put out there to table it, right?
No, I already
There
did
is
the
a motion and a
second.
second to table, so
it's already been
so the
seconded.
first, we can't move ahead until we have a vote on that motion.
Just a vote.
Madam President, this agreement is solid. There's nothing wrong with this agreement.
In your opinion.
That there's not another one in place doesn't negate this one. So I think this on its merits is a solid program. I'm voting in favor of this program.
Roll call.
It's for the table.
For the table.
The table.
Yeah, just for the table. Roll call. Madam,
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
No.
Madam Chairman Gibson King?
so this is to table it then?
Correct.
Yes. Yes, to table it.
Are we tabling this?
No, I mean, no, not to table it.
Well, even if it was a 2-2, yeah, it would have been a 2-2 vote, but now it's 3-1, so no table.
No table. Now we're voting on the actual.
So now you can make a motion regarding the approval of the actual agreement, which probably was already made back at the beginning, so I think we need to vote on that.
So I need to say,
Madam President,
There's already a
can I
first
make
and
a
second.
motion to approve?
yes, is there a motion to approve the reading?
There already was one.
Okay, so okay then. It's already been approved then, right?
Roll call.
Okay, roll call then,
Trustee Gomez?
Is there a second?
There was a second previously.
Diane, second.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
No.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Madam Chairman Gibson King?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is 5.11, approval of the student handbook. Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, the student handbook is a document that is used to give students guidelines with what their rights and responsibilities are within the school district, but also provides other information for district administrators, deans, and things to follow in regards to how they deal and interact with students. Attorney Snow helped construct this document and put the language together, and I will pass it to Attorney Snow for any further questions.
Oh, yes. Yeah, are there any public comments from the audience on this 5.11? Approval of student handbook? None? Okay. Is there a motion for, is there a motion for approval of the student handbook?
Madam President, I move to table this item.
Oh, trustees Gomez make a motion to table. Is there a second?
Yeah, we don't have it.
Yes, table.
Okay, we have a second motion by trustee Smith to table it. Second to table it? Okay.
Second.
Okay, all right then. So now we have to make a motion. Oh, any questions?
Any
I'm sorry.
discussion from the board on the motion to
Discussion-
table?
Any discussion from the board?
Dr. Mitchell, didn't you give us this handbook?
But you,
Yes. Yeah, I gave it to you.
At an exec session, I
Work
mean, a
session.
work session.
Yes.
You did give us
no,
the
you
handbook.
you only gave it to me,
No, it went to everyone.
huh?
We all had it.
It went to everyone. It was electronic.
Okay,
You
that's
always have
that's
to
what I'm
yours to be
saying. See,
paper.
you're right. So I got mine in hard copy. I know I got something.
No,
But you guys
he
got,
gave us all hard copies.
no, he only gave it to me. He didn't give you guys no hard copy. Because he didn't give you guys now. That's why I'm knowing y'all didn't get it. And I
Whoever
don't know
asked for
what
hard
y'all,
copy.
I don't know what you got on your phone, but I know I got mine in hard copy. Because I told him I was gonna have to punch some
Okay, well, we
holes in
can
it.
table
But
it.
what was supposed to have happened was, if I'm not mistaken,
We'll table it until we get the.
okay, we could
actual-
table it then.
You need to take a vote on the motion to table. You have it out there, and I think there was a second from trustee Smith, so you need to take a vote.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need that. Well, we gotta wait till trustee Orange come back.
Got a quorum.
Oh, we got a quorum,
vote.
okay. All right.
Trustee Gomez?
To table, yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange? Trustee Smith?
Tabled. Yes.
Madam Chairman Gibson King?
Yes. 5.12, approval of security handbook. Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, the security handbook, we updated the security handbook and protocols, and this presentation was done in a work session by
our Director of Security. The handbook outlines not only how we interact in natural disasters, but also any emergency that will arise within the school district and how we need to move and operate to keep everyone safe.
Are there any public comments? Is there a motion for approval of the security handbook?
Madam President, I move for approval.
Approval for trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Smith. Are there any comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Gibson King?
Yes. 5.13, approval of the Harrison parking lot. Mr. Mitchell?
Yeah, periodically, we have our community partners needing to utilize some of our facilities. In this case, a neighboring church needed to utilize Harrison's parking lot for an event they were having. They met all requirements in terms of application and permitting and insurance.
Are there any public comments? Is there a motion for approval of usage of Harrison parking lot?
Make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith made a motion to approve. I'll second it. Second the motion. Any questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Madam Chairman, Gibson King?
Yes. Items,
We don't have any.
the subcommittees, well, there's no report from the Finance Committee. 6.02, Policy Committee.
Madam President, I will get with President Rodriguez and Attorney Snow and go over some of the policies we reviewed and probably have a subsequent meeting before we establish a second reading for some of those policies. That's it.
Thank you. Superintendent's remarks.
Yes, I'll keep this brief. We've had a number of excellent things that's happened with our students. Our students held a trick-or-treat haunted house at the school. There was no major incidents or anything there, and it was a great time. They had lines around the building waiting to get in. We also have a young lady by the name of Randy Washington who received accolades and was announced to be on a traveling team. That's also a wonderful accomplishment. Since our last board meeting, we implemented Nimble as our HR management system, and that's been going fairly well. We have a couple of other applications that will be added to that will make HR run a lot smoother. And I'll also just like to take this time to thank all of our partners in the community that's donated needed resources to ensure that our students have what they need to be successful. There's been donations from uniforms to dollars to helping out with candy sales and various things like that. So we always want to make sure that we show our appreciation and gratitude to those individuals who take the time and utilize their resources to help our students be better. Also, we're coming into the holiday season. I just want to remind everyone that this is a awesome season, but it's also a season where we want to be very careful about our health and well-being, especially our mental and emotional health. During this time, it's a very high stressful and a time filled with anxiety. We want to make sure that we take the necessary precautions to minimize that. Also, as we look forward to it, this is a time where there's a lot of transition in many of our students' homes. I think that we need to be cognizant that change happens and that some of this change is not always for the positive. So we need to make sure that when we see something, we say something. We tell our children that all the time. And when we hear something, we do something, because again, these things are not only relevant for young people, they're also relevant for adults. And again, as always, I want to just thank you for allowing me to serve you in this position of interim superintendent. And if there's anything that I can do or we can do as a district, please let us know.
Thank you. Trustees' remarks. Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Sure, I have a couple. First, I just want to say that the special education department has been going, I don't know if it's monthly or bi-monthly, to the food bank to help pack foods for communities. I think it's a great way to have just our students go out to actually give back. One of the classes I know, they love to go, and I know they get a special treat afterwards. Obviously, that's the fun part. But regardless, they are out in the community, they're meeting new people, other people, and they're doing various jobs. So congratulations, and I'm proud of them for doing that. To add to Dr. Mitchell, Haunted Hallway, as always, a great event for our students, and I think they love scaring individuals overall. But they also participated in the Nightmare at McShane, and again, from my understanding, our students there gave 110% in giving a lot of the scares, as well as we had participation from all of our schools at Nightmare McShane. I say this all the time. Thank you guys who participate, because our students seeing you outside of school time means so much to our community. So kudos to you guys for staying after and giving back. The other thing that I posted on my Facebook page, and I was so happy to see it, and I wish I had the student's name, but throughout the city of East Chicago, last year, when I was a park director, we collaborated with the Central High School art teachers to have students actually draw for our little libraries inside of our parks. So we had 4 done, we had 2 more to go, and the mayor loved the artwork from our students that they ended up, he took those art pieces and made, I don't know what it's called. We put it on our electrical boxes. So right now, if you go throughout the city, you'll see some electrical boxes that actually have their artwork. So we thought it was just gonna be 6. We had about 20 people actually like 25, do artwork. And then we took the top 6 that we liked for the little libraries, and then the rest, he actually is putting in the electrical boxes. That's already out, so the little libraries are to come. I love to be able to see that connection from the school city and the city of East Chicago, and showing our artwork for our kids. That's great. And the last thing is, because we are doing that combination of school city and city of East Chicago, on November 9th, the city of East Chicago is celebrating the Veterans Day, and there's a celebration that's going to be held at Veterans Park from 12:30 to 1 p.m. And our ROTC will be there to present the wreath as well as the colors. So please go and support our students as well as the city in this event. That's all for me.
Thank you. Trustee Smith?
Yes, I'd just like to say, for the following donations that were received by the student staff at Lincoln Elementary School as a first place prize for the after-school family talent show. They was a donation for $100. Thank you for that. But I was really waiting, sorry we took so long, because I wanted to thank the AKAs. I know there's some deltas in here, but I wanted to thank the AKAs for their donation to the program called CHIP at McKinley. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time out. That's what sororities and fraternities and community service organizations is about giving back. And I just wanted to say, a lot of times we don't thank people. So, you know, the churches with the food banks, the donations to to any of the schools or the children, the teachers with buying the hats, the gloves, you don't have to do that. So any donation that you do, you give, and you give it from your heart. And I know I talk about my heart because I'm a person from the heart, reaches the heart. So I just want to thank you for your time, your effort, your donations. And I saw the AKAs. They were sitting here, but we took so long, and I wanted to acknowledge them. So if you're watching me on television, thank you for your donations, for your CHIP program. Thank you.
Trustee Gomez?
Thank you. I just have two items. One is, I want to share the news with the community. Enrique Romo, who was a star cross country runner here at East Chicago Central. This past Saturday, he earned second place at the conference championships. He runs now for Olivet Nazarene College. That second place finish earned him a qualifying spot to the national championships in Vancouver, Washington later this month. So I would like to see if we could have a letter sent to him congratulating him on his achievements. And the second one is just a note following comments on Veterans Day. I do hope that we celebrate Veterans Day here in the school city as well. In particular, that we support all veterans, including those like Emilio de la Garza Jr., a former neighbor of mine who passed away in the war and was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Yes, I have remarks about Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson, the CTE teacher at Junior Block School. I was invited to come there to observe her program, her after-school program for STEM and robotics. And I was really fascinated about what these students had done out of some Legos. They had made a robot out of some Legos. And then they also had taken some other objects that were in her classroom. They made another robot. So I know that when we had Legos, you know, I didn't even think about anything but the creation of the mind that they have. But anyway, the STEM program, it helps students to develop teamwork skills and working together on projects and activities. This is what they do. This is why they are called the STEM Robotic Club, because they all engage in working together in concepts. And also, the robotics is to facilitate students to understand designs and to learn robotics, to promote love of robotics in the state of national levels and competition. Now, mind you, the teacher, Mrs. Johnson, that same day, she had Cleveland Cliffs come out as well and observe the classroom to see what the students were doing. And her name was her name is Mrs. Christina Foreman. She's a community relations person that came out. And so she was really real excited about this. So what Mrs. Johnson is hoping is what she's doing is to establish a partnership with Cleveland Cliffs so that they can help support the robotics STEM program at our Junior Block School. Also, on the 18th of October, Friends of the Library, we were at our public library there, and there was a young child. Let me get up and get what we had for her.
Oh.
She read 1,000 books. And this is what we had for this child. She read some of the books in our library and some she read at home. So these are the kind of things that I know all of us are doing together is to encourage our children, to better help them to get the education that we all had gotten, you know, and there's the need for that. So I want to thank you. And I also want to say something And also, we gave our certificates that day to the board, to the library board. We gave one to the director, Mrs. Marlon Spann, and the library board as well on that same day, the Friends of the Library. I also want to say to the AKAs that were here that sat so patiently, I am so sorry that they had to leave, but as Mrs. Smith spoke on the reason why they were here, and we're going to try to follow up with what it was that they wanted to speak on with Mr. Mitchell here as the superintendent here to get that, let him be informed in what it was that they wanted to say. So I thank you all for coming, and can I get someone to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, pardon. No, I'm sorry, I'm
have a
sorry.
whole public
I'm sorry,
forum.
yeah, the public forum. Oh, what,
As we always mention with the public forum, the forum comments are limited to 3 minutes in length. They are not to be directed towards any single board member. They're not to be interpreted as a question and answer. And in order to make a comment, you must have signed up on the sheet prior to the meeting.
Sherry Adams, East Chicago resident. I don't expect to take up the whole 3 minutes, but I am going to just say quickly as a reminder, I'd like to see the whole city of East Chicago, especially people in positions of authority, open up their minds. Just because there was one entity for a length of time that was funding that fitness center doesn't mean they're the only game in town. We live in the United States of America. There are 50 states. Not only that, East Chicago has their own celebrities and millionaires. Let's reach out to them. Not only that, let's not look for one individual, even though it might be part of her or his responsibility, to look for extra funding. You all are board members. All of you start looking for extra funding for these children. But the foundations is not the only game in town. The bottom line is they're gone. Let them be gone. I'm glad they're gone. Let them stay gone. But please, let's keep an open mind about other areas where we can find funding and be happy to work with anybody who's willing to sit down with you all and talk about monies and how they can help children of East Chicago whom they don't know and probably never lived in this area, but love children, interested in seeing children thrive, not just in a particular state, but see children thrive in this country. There are people out there like that, and they have the money, and they're looking for a place to use it constructively. I echo what Mrs. Smith said. I have all the confidence in the world that Dr. Mitchell is diligently looking for those funds and is going to find it because he has a particular skill set where he's able to do those kinds of things. There are people that he can reach out to that will help and assist him. So please, you all, keep an open mind. I'm so sick of hearing about the foundations of East Chicago, I don't know what to do. Just like you all have said, you all were tired of hearing about the billboard and ready to see that go down and get changed. Well, I'm tired of hearing about the foundations of East Chicago. They are gone. When they were there, they refused to fix the roof, so it kept leaking. So let's come away from that, and let's focus our minds on the future and looking for future legitimate funding. And I so appreciate Trustee Smith putting it out there on the line. We ain't got it. So thank you for that and being honest and candor about that. It's not there. We're looking for it. We're going to fight till we get the funding. But in the meantime, everybody's going to have to be patient and work with you all. So thanks so much for that honesty and that clarity.
Thank you.
Linda Randolph.
Good evening, Linda Randolph, 4437 Alder Street, East Chicago. I just really wanted to publicly thank all the parents that came out for the parent conferences today. And if you did not come out, please make an effort to look up your child's grades, make an appointment with your child's teacher, and make sure that your child is on the right track. In regard to seniors, is your child on the right track to graduate? Do you know? Do you really know? So I want to encourage parents to make sure that they interact with the teacher as soon as possible, and the grades are available online. Also, thank you for your efforts on behalf of trying to make sure that our teachers receive more pay. So everybody who's involved, we appreciate it. And I just want to, as a community member, say that if the goal is 50,000 down the line, then right now we need to start planning and preparing for passing a referendum. Thank you.
I wanted to say that so bad.
Madeline Span?
I wanted to say, just it'll pass now.
My name is Madeline Span, 4942 Euclid Avenue here in East Chicago. First of all, I'm here as a member of the Friends of the Library, and I wanted to piggyback a little bit off of what Trustee Gibson said. When she was saying that we presented certificates and a T-shirt to the young girl that read 1,000 books before kindergarten. And I would hope that we could have some type of collaboration with the library, because they do have a good children's program there. And we might have more students, because reading is really a foundation for these children to help them later on. If we can collaborate with them in any kind of way, for our youngsters to go to the children's department, and it'll probably help them as they go through elementary. And the next thing, your school board member, can I mention a name? One of the school board members that you appointed to the library board, I'd like to commend the appointment that you had, because she comes to all of the, if she's around, she comes to all the school board meetings. She took time, she joined the Friends of the Library. She participates in every function that the library gives, and also with the Friends of the Library. And I want to thank you for such a great pick. And the last thing I wanted to say, another good thing about the children's department at the public library is that the young man that accidentally drowned out at the marina some time ago, he was an avid member of the children's room at the library. And so the staff was really affected by it, and they did like a tribute over the Facebook, and Channel 7 News came and interviewed them. The parents came out to the library to thank the director and the other staff on how well they treated their son, and how well he liked coming to the children's room at the library. And then after a few weeks later, the director, Ms. Span, got a letter, and it was from the place that the child's father worked, and said on behalf of whatever company it was, they were donating $5,000 to the children's room because the good work they worked with his child.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, last thing. Friends of the Library, I would like for all of you guys to support it. Everything that we raise goes directly to the library for things that they cannot pay for in their budget. And on Saturday, December 2nd, from 10 to 4, we're having a Christmas bazaar at the Pastrick Library, and we'll have different vendors selling merchandise. We'll have a couple of food vendors and a couple of health vendors. Thank you.
Helen
You can
Steinbeck?
give us a copy of Madeline, you can give us a copy. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Helen Steinbach, 5207 East 73rd Avenue, Maryville, Indiana. In anticipation of one of our school board members leaving us, I hope that there has been discussion about who might be taking her place. And I would hope that you would also let some of our community members and interested parties, like teachers from the teachers union, have some input into that decision. So it's not that far away. Thank you.
Madam President, that's it.
Okay. The date and time of the next meeting will be November the 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Can I get someone to adjourn?
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez on? Trustee Smith? Yes. Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, huh?